Hi everyone. Good to see you on my channel today. Today I will tell you a wonderful story. It is full of love and kindness. I hope you enjoy it and I wish you an enjoyable viewing experience. Thank you. Give him to the orphanage. Why do we need him? Quietly hissed David. We will have their own children, and with him I have relations do not get along. Are you out of your mind? His wife also quietly objected to him. It's not just a child, it's my brother. How can I give him away? In that case, an ultimatum. Either me or him. Selina slowly sank down on the sofa. She was shocked by the words of her beloved husband. Until 2 months ago, they had been a happy family, and now she was 20 years old when she met David. Handsome, intelligent and mature, 8 years older than her, she liked the man immediately. The romance spiraled rapidly. David and Selina dated for a year, then got choked up. The wedding was fabulous, as the girl had dreamed in childhood. A white dress, a beautiful veil, Mary's favorite parents near. The guys lived happily for 2 years. Children were in no hurry to have children. Selina wanted to graduate from the institute, but 2 months ago the life of this family changed. Selina's parents died in a car accident. For the girl, it was a real shock. She could not believe in what was happening for a long time. But Selina was not allowed to lose heart. She had a little brother. He, of course, is not a baby. Tom is 12 years old, but still needs support and care. No kin, Selina and Tom have not left. 2 bloodlines in the whole world, Celine. That's why it was so natural for the girl that she would take her brother to her family. But her husband was of a different opinion. He did not get along well with Tom and constantly hinted to Celine that the boy should be given to an orphanage. The girl pretended not to notice the hints of her husband. But today, the game in the ostrich is over. And husband put the question as a question, what to do? Selina did not know. It was the most difficult choice in her life. A choice without the right to make a mistake. After the difficult conversation, David went to work on the night shift, and Selina looked into the room her brother now occupied. The boy was methodically putting his things into his backpack. Where are you going? The girl asked her brother. I heard your conversation squelching his nose, Tom replied. I don't want to go to the orphanage. I'd rather run away somewhere else. I'm not going to the orphanage, Selina said quietly. You're lying, shouted Tom. You'll choose your David, and you don't need me. I used to make fun of you when I was little. The boy was already crying for real. Tears were running down his baby face that he couldn't stop. Tom, what are you talking about? The candy melting in the report is not the worst joke. And the perfume I broke. And the shoes I painted on purpose. Tom wanted to say something else, but Selina quickly walked over to him and hugged him. Unpack your backpack and come to the kitchen. Now we'll have dinner, and then we can watch TV. The boy smiled and began to unpack, and Selina walked thoughtfully out of the room. She knew for sure that she would not give her brother to the orphanage. Well, how could she do that? It would be a betrayal. But at the same time, Selina didn't want to lose her husband. She really hoped that David had given her the ultimatum because he was angry. And tomorrow morning he'd come back and say he was joking. And their life would go on as usual. Soon Selina would graduate from the institute and go to work. Life would become easier. There would be more money. Calming herself with such thoughts, the girl prepared dinner. She and her brother ate and lay down to watch a movie. Selina did not yet know that soon her usual life would collapse. David forcefully pushed Selina towards the couch. The girl stumbled and fell on the soft cushions with her butt. It didn't hurt, but it hurt a lot. Her husband loomed over her. Are you stupid? You decided to trade me for a boy. Put him in an orphanage. Don't ruin our lives, David yelled. The girl squeezed herself into the sofa. In the morning, Selina did not manage to talk to her husband. He came from the shift, tired, and she had to have time to feed her brother, send him to school, and run to the institute herself. So the hard conversation took place now. The girl was glad Tom wasn't home. The boy should not see this. I can't give my brother to an orphanage. It's wrong, unfair. How will I live with it? Selina tried to get through to her husband. 1,000 people do nasty things and live with it. And you're so righteous, so lofty. Why do I have to feed you both? Okay, you're my wife. I chose you. I love you. But the boy is nothing to me. David, just bear with me. I'll graduate soon and get a job. I'll be able to feed Tom myself. After all, he won't eat us. I told you yesterday, it's either me or him. There are no other options. David stared at his wife. Selina raised crying eyes. So quietly began the girl. I choose my brother. Sorry. She wanted to get up from the couch, but the man grabbed her firmly by the shoulders and started shaking her. He shouted curses. Selina was like a helpless doll dangling in the hands of an evil puppeteer. There was no telling how it would have ended. But David's phone rang. He was distracted for a second, and Selina jumped up from the couch and ran into the room that was now her brother's. Selina realized she had made the right decision. Giving her own brother to an orphanage was a true betrayal. But how they would continue to live with Tom, the girl did not imagine. She did not work. Before the defense of her diploma, she had a little more than 3 months left. After receiving the documents, the girl planned to get a job. And while she wanted to quietly finish her studies, her husband did not push Selina to work. David had a good salary, and he and Selina had enough for everything. In principle, even the presence of an extra mouth, as David called his wife's brother, did not pierce a big hole in the family budget. But Selina's husband fundamentally did not want to support the boy. It wasn't even about money. The guy just didn't want to see Tom in his house. All these thoughts wandered in her head while she monotonously packed her brother's things. Good thing they had somewhere to go. There was a 2-bedroom apartment left over from her dead parents. Selina hadn't gone in there since Mom and Dad's funeral. She hadn't even dared to take their stuff apart. Just packed up her brother, locked the apartment and left. And it's been 2 months since Selina was where she grew up and was happy. Now she and her brother have to go back to their apartment. It's so hard. Go to the place where you were once happy, where there are still things of parents, and they themselves, so dear and loved, are not around. Gathering her brother's things, the girl went to the room where she and David slept. Her husband watched carefully as Selina pulled out a suitcase and began packing. "Are you sure about what you're doing?" David asked. "Yes," Selina replied quietly. "Keep in mind, I won't take it back, even if you come crawling back on your knees." Saying the last words, the man quickly left the room. Selina heard the front door slam. At that moment, her strength left her, and she sobbed bitterly. After shoving her things into her suitcase, Selina went to the kitchen. With a quick motion, she opened the cupboard and looked at the supplies. She pulled out a couple packs of pasta and a bag of buckwheat. Selina put her loot into a bag. It is necessary to hide it all somehow, or her husband would not let her take the food out of principle. Selina would not be surprised. David showed himself from a completely different side, and what to expect from this man the girl now did not know. She has no money at all. What she and Tom will eat, she does not know, so pasta and buckwheat will be useful to them. Perhaps there would be some more supplies in her parents' apartment. Of course, she'll try to find some work, but she can't leave the institute either. Oh, it's all so complicated. The unknown frightens Selina. The girl threw a quick glance at the clock. In about 15 minutes, her brother should be back from school. That was good. Maybe they would have time to leave the apartment before David came back. She didn't want to see her husband again. Selina was tired of fighting, of figuring things out. The doorbell rang. Selina hurried into the hallway. Tom stood on the doorstep. "Do not undress. We are leaving here. Your things I have collected," the girl quickly said, and gave her brother a bag. "Where are we going?" The boy was surprised. "Home. David is not ready to live with you, and I'm not ready to give you up." Are you sure?" muttered the brother quietly. Yes, Selina smiled and winked at Tom. She picked up her suitcase and looked back sadly. Here she had lived for 2 years. She had been happy and loved. It was a shame it was ending like this. Selina slammed the door shut, and she and her brother walked down to the first floor. At the mailboxes, the girl slowed down. She dropped the apartment keys into one of them. That's what they had agreed with David. When they got home, he would get them out. Selina didn't need the keys anymore. She can't come back here. She's made her choice. She has no right to make a mistake. Selina and Tom walked to the bus stop with their suitcases in front of them. The girl has some change. She borrowed it from David. When he came home, he always emptied his pockets of iron. But one time on the nightstand near the front door, there was a large and sloppy pile of change, so that the money did not lie around like that. Selina put a special jar. Now the iron was thrown into it. It was from this jar that the girl took money for transportation. It was good that there were rubles and 2 rubles, less often 5 rubles. Otherwise, with 10 kopeck coins, they would not have been taken. It took about 15 minutes to get from her husband's apartment to his home. Selina and Tom settled down near the entrance and drove in silence. Everyone's spirits were heavy and various thoughts were wandering around in their heads. No matter how much Tom braved it, it was obvious by the way he was afraid to go back to the apartment he had lived in all his life. Afraid to face reality, to admit that Mom and Dad were gone. Selina was overcome with similar feelings and thoughts, and the girl was also thinking about David. Well, how could he do that to her? She thought she knew her husband well. But here it was, and Selina was also afraid with the responsibility she had taken on. Not only was she now responsible for her own life, but also for Tom's. Selina had never taken on such a burden before. When she lived with her parents, they protected her from all troubles, came in a difficult minute and solved all problems. Then Selina fell under the wing of an adult husband. David also tried to protect his wife from all problems. Probably that's why the man was surprised that Selina shook up, did not want to give Tom to the orphanage. Everyone thought Selina was a delicate flower, and she showed her thorns. Only how long will her fuse last? Will the first difficulties break the girl? Time will tell. The door of her parents' apartment opened with a creak. It's like opening a crypt, Selina thought. The smell of musty, dusty, uninhabited space immediately hit her nose. No surprise, Selina hadn't visited the apartment since her parents' funeral, which was a little over 2 months ago. Well, let's go in, Selina asked her brother. The boys were still tentatively stomping on the threshold. They were scared, very scared and dreary. Come on, Tom said with a childish sigh. Taking hands, brother and sister crossed the threshold of the native house. The girl quickly flicked the switch, and a bright light filled the hallway. Mom's slippers immediately caught her eye, so flirty, pink with big pom-poms. Selina's nose pinched and she quickly shoved the slippers under the closet, hoping Tom hadn't seen them. But the boy had seen everything. He tried to wipe away the tears that came. Shall we go through? Too loudly to hide his excitement? Tom asked. Come on, Selina replied. After taking off her shoes, the girl quickly went deep into the apartment and closed the room that used to be her parents' room. 2 rooms would be enough for her and Tom, and she wasn't ready to touch her parents' bedroom. It was too heavy. Tom occupied the room in which he lived before the tragic events. Everything was in the dust there. Therefore, brother and sister began cleaning, having put in order the rooms they would use. The guys drank empty tea and went to bed. Selina thought she wouldn't be able to sleep for a long time, but she fell asleep literally in a matter of seconds. Apparently, the tension of the last few days had taken its toll. In the morning, Tom ran off to school, and Selina tried to figure out how to live her life. The first thing she had to do was to take care of all the paperwork. Guardianship and various payments. Encouraged, Selina went to the internet to find out what papers were needed to make the payments. The girl's enthusiasm quickly disappeared as soon as she saw the list of documents. But Selina had no time to be sad and afraid. She found the phone number of the guardianship authorities and called. No one answered the phone. In order not to waste time, the girl headed there. Selena was very afraid that she would be scolded. Her brother would be taken away. They would say that people like her are not given children. After all, by and large, Selena has nothing. She doesn't work, so she can't support Tom. But apparently on this day, someone upstairs took pity on the stubborn girl. In the guardianship authorities, Selena got to a beautiful woman, Anna, who explained everything in detail to her visitor. In fact, everything turned out to be not so terrible. But the first thing the girl had to do was to get a divorce. If the husband does not agree to take custody of Tom, then Selena cannot do it. The only way out is divorce. Another problem that the girl needed to solve as soon as possible: employment. A certificate was needed for the previous year. When Selena heard that, she almost cried. "Don't get so upset," consoled the girl Anna. "You bring a certificate that you work and then we'll decide. There is always a loophole." Selena left the guardianship full of determination. She believed that everything will work out. The main thing was to find a job and get a divorce. All the other certificates are a matter of technique. Selena believed in success, not even realizing how many difficulties awaited her on the way. The next day, Selena called her husband. "What's up?" "Already want to go back again," chuckled into the phone guy. "And I will not accept. I warned you, didn't I?" "David, listen. I'm not going back anywhere. You kicked me out, I get it. I just wanted to ask you." Selena hesitated. "So David, come with me to the registry office. I want to file for divorce. If we come together, it'll be quicker." "Come on, please." "Fuck you," yelled David. "I won't give you a divorce. I won't give you a divorce. And you can't get custody of your baby brother. Not without my consent. Fuck you. You got that, bitch." David kept yelling. Selena pressed the disconnect button, choking back bitter tears. How could she be so wrong? How? She had thought David was the best of men, and he had turned out to be a real bastard. Fighting back the flood of tears, Selena picked up her cell phone and dialed the number of her classmate Lana. She'd been moonlighting as a waitress at a cafe for a long time, and said that they were always in need of female workers. Selena had always snorted, thinking that such a job wasn't right for her. But that's all changed now. "Hey Lana, it's Selena. Am I interrupting?" Selena spoke into the phone. "Hey Walker. A little distracting, but if you're quick, I'm listening." "Bleak, you said the cafe you work at always needs people." "I should get a seat," Selena mumbled, embarrassed. "Princess, is that you? How will you run with trays?" Lana snorted merrily, but became serious at once and said, "Is it that bad?" Selena replied, fighting back another bout of tears. "Don't be so downhearted. I'll check with Michael about the vacancies and call you back, okay?" Yes. Thank you." Selena began to thank Lana. Lana called back about an hour later. "Selena, there are no jobs at the cafe," she spoke quickly. "But don't feel bad. Do you want to try to work in the store? It's a good place, money. I would go myself, but there already works Mady, and I do not work with her is not an option." "You know I stole her boyfriend," Lana finished, sighing heavily. "Of course I want to try. I don't have a choice anyway, and I need a job." Then write down the address of the store and the phone number of the owner. Lana quickly dictated the coordinates. "Call, make an appointment. The place is a blatant. Do not delay. I found out about it by accident." Okay, Selena said and hung up. The girl did not hesitate and dialed the phone number that her friend gave her. The receiver was picked up by a woman with a melodious voice. Selena quickly explained what she was calling about, and the lady made an appointment. The girl needed to arrive at the store in an hour. Arriving at the place, Selena realized that the store was not an easy one. Beautiful signboard, expensive interior, sellers in branded clothes. "Hello, where can I find Sandy?" Selena asked one of the girls working in the store. "Just a moment," she answered and ran off in the direction of the fitting rooms. Selena sat down on a low sofa and waited for the store owner. She appeared a couple minutes later. "I'm Sandy," the woman introduced herself. "And you are Selina?" "Yes," the girl answered quickly. She glared at the woman who came out to meet her. Selina didn't often get to see such beautiful and well-groomed women. "Selina, let me tell you a little about the store, and you can think about whether this place would be a good fit for you," Sandy spoke up. Selina nodded affirmatively, and the store owner continued. "This is a high-end men's clothing store. Most of the people who dress here are wealthy, so the service in our store must be top-notch. From you, as a salesman, requires politeness, the desire to please the client, the ability to smooth out conflicts. Men often come here with their wives or other halves, so no flirting. Smiles, coquetry. If I see you, I'll fire you. Is that clear?" "Yes," Selina nodded. "The girls work in shifts. 2 days on, 2 days off. The salary is fixed, plus a percentage. But more on that later. If you're satisfied with everything, I'll take you on probation. If there are no complaints for a month, we'll work together. Otherwise, we'll say goodbye." Selina nodded in agreement. She liked the store very much, liked the atmosphere in it. She wanted to touch this luxury, to be a part of it. "If everything is clear to you, I propose to start work tomorrow. Do you agree?" "Of course," Selina smiled. "Then come tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning with all the documents. We will settle the necessary formalities. I will familiarize you with the assortment, the peculiarities of work." Selina left the store inspired. She believed that the new place of work, a new turn in her life. Selina was quickly drawn into the new regime. Now she had not only to prepare for the defense of her diploma, but also to go to work, to take care of Tom, to draw up documents. The guys didn't have any money, so Selina took on debts. At least her friends didn't refuse her. The first 2 working days went great. Selina listened attentively to Sandy, trying to remember everything, not to confuse anything. The shopkeeper noticed the girl's efforts, and she liked it. As soon as Selina had a day off, she went to the registry office to file for divorce. "How long will it take?" asked the girl at the registry office. "If there are no children and the husband agrees, then everything will be fast. A month and the divorce." "And if the husband is against it?" Selina asked fearfully. "The case could take longer," said the registry clerk. But Selina was lucky. David went somewhere and did not show up on the appointed day. They quickly divorced. The guys had no children. Disputes over property, too. Everything went without a hitch, which Selina could not help but be pleased. Having received a certificate of divorce, the girl hurriedly collected other necessary documents for custody. Things were moving slowly but surely. With work, too. Everything worked out splendidly. Selina passed her probationary period. The girl liked the work, although she was very tired. Clients sometimes came across very capricious and demanding. Some could be rude, others slap on the ass and with an unpleasant laugh to say, "Move faster." We had to endure. Sometimes it was very hard, especially for the proud Celine, who was not used to such treatment. But she endured, not for her own sake, for Tom's sake. The boy was growing up and wanted new clothes, gadgets, normal food, not empty pasta, which the guys were eating for the first month. By the way, Tom was not capricious, appreciated his sister's efforts, and helped as much as he could. In general, brother and sister lived a friendly life, but their usual way of life collapsed because of an uninvited guest. That day, Selina was lying on the couch, trying to get away from the 2 working days, which were very hard. The store had a new shipment of merchandise, and there was a surprisingly large number of people. Selina was exhausted, not only mentally but also physically, so she needed to rest. Tom ran off to practice, and Selina dozed off. Her peace was broken by the insistent ringing of the doorbell. "Oh, Tom, you little shit. Did he forget his keys again?" Getting out from under the plaid, Selina muttered, heading for the door. She was sure that her brother was trying to get into the apartment, so she opened the door without even looking through the peephole. "Tom, why are you at my—" Selina couldn't finish. The words stuck in her throat. It wasn't Tom standing on the doorstep, it was David, her ex-husband. You, the girl said quietly, looking at the man with all her eyes. I am. David grinned evilly and entered the apartment, quickly slamming the door shut. And what are you doing here? Fighting with surprise, Selena asked. I came to visit you, my favorite wife, David said. And then only the girl caught a strong smell of alcohol coming from her ex-husband. Selena became frightened. She did not know how David could behave under the influence of alcohol. Selena didn't know what to expect from this man at all. David, what do you want? We've made up our minds, haven't we? You kicked me out, the girl said, fighting panic. You left on your own. You chose your dear brother over me. You should have done as I asked, and we'd be happy now. Why don't you come back? You haven't done the paperwork yet. Have you I have, Selena answered quietly. She wasn't lying. You miss me, don't you? David murmured, grabbing Selena's hand. Selena tried to pull the limb away, but she couldn't. So, do you miss me? Repeated David's question. No, Selena said quietly. I don't have time to be bored. I have work, school, things to do, and I miss you, the guy said angrily and pounced on Selena with his whole body. Pressing his ex-wife against the wall, David tried to kiss her. The girl resisted but could not cope with the strong man. David's hand slid down Selena's body. The girl tried to pull away to break free, but her resistance only irritated the man. Stay still, or it will be worse, David growled. Let me go, please, whispered Selena, realizing what her ex-husband was going to do to her. No, darling, I want to punish you for your disobedience and actually enjoy myself. Selena was numbed by the words of her once favorite man. Gathering all the strength in her fist, the girl pushed David away from her and rushed into the room. But she couldn't run far. The man grabbed her by her robe and threw her to the floor. In such a Paulo Davide, Selena was powerless and could not offer proper resistance. That's what David needed. Looking at his ex-wife with superiority, he took her by force. Selena screamed in pain, begging for David to let her go, but it was as if the man didn't hear. Having done his dirty work, he pulled up his pants and, spitting vigorously on the floor, left Selena's apartment, saying goodbye. Now we're even. Selena sat on the floor in the hallway with her arms around her knees and cried quietly. She couldn't believe David could do this to her, to abuse her in such a dirty and despicable way. She didn't know what to do. The first thought that arose in the girl's mind was to go to the police. But Selena was scared. She was afraid not for herself, but mostly for her brother. Suddenly David will do something to Tom, Selena reasoned, because he already does not like my brother. It is not known how long Selena would have sat on the floor, but at some point she heard a key turn in the door. Tom had come in. The girl didn't want her brother to see her like this, so she quickly got up and slipped into the bathtub. Opening the warm water, Selena frantically rubbed herself with a washcloth, trying to wash away the pain and dirt that lodged deep in her soul. Of course, the water didn't help her come to terms with the situation, but it calmed her nerves a bit, and soon Selena was out of the bathroom, wrapped in a large bathrobe. Hey, shouted Tom from the kitchen. What are you doing in the bathroom? Let's drink tea. Come on, replied the girl, and hurried over to her brother. Selena didn't want tea, but she felt the urgent need to be with someone. No, she wasn't going to tell her brother about what had happened, but his chatter, his stories about training guys in school, distracted Selena from sad thoughts. The girl ordered herself not to think about what had happened. Just not to think. Nothing could be changed, which meant she just had to get over it and move on. Making a decision not to think and not thinking about problems are actually things completely different. All night Selena rolled around in bed like a hot frying pan. Unwanted memories kept popping up in her head, making her heart clench with pain. Selena wasn't just thinking about what David had done. For some reason, she was also remembering the good times they had had with her ex-husband. That made it even more painful. It was only in the morning that a completely devastated Selene fell into a troubled sleep. She dreamed as if she were flying into a deep abyss, trying to cling with her hands, but she couldn't do anything and she was flying. She was going down, somewhere scary and dangerous. Selina woke up to her own screaming. She quickly sat up in bed and shook her head. "Selina, are you all right?" Mom asked in a shaky voice somewhere very close. The girl shuddered fearfully. She had been so caught up in her emotions after the dream that she hadn't noticed Tom standing beside the bed. "It's okay, just a bad dream," Selina muttered. "And why are you here?" "You were screaming so much that I got scared and came running," the boy answered quietly. "Sorry," looking guiltily at his brother, said Selina. "Go get some sleep. It's still an hour before rising." Tom obediently trotted barefoot to his room, and Selina flopped down on her pillow. The pillowcase was damp. Seeing in her sleep Selina not only screamed but cried. The dream was no more. The girl silently gazed into the semi-darkness of the room, trying to calm herself. Soon the alarm clock rang, and Selina hurried to the kitchen. She had to prepare breakfast for Tom. After sending her brother to school, she lay down to rest and fell asleep. She was awakened by the phone vibrating nearby. There was a message. Selina quickly opened it. "I'm sorry," read the girl on the screen. Selina shook her head, wiped her eyes, and sat back down to read the message again. "I'm sorry," Selina said out loud. She looked at the sender's name once more. There was no mistake. The message had been sent by David. The girl silently put the phone away and looked up at the ceiling. "I'm sorry," she said out loud once more. "Damn, he's got it so easy. I'm sorry." Selina was getting really hysterical. She screamed, cried, ran around the room, throwing pillows, chairs, clothes, whatever she could get her hands on. Then, exhausted, she sank to the bed. Her head felt empty. Her heart felt empty too. As if through absorbent cotton, Selina heard her phone vibrate again. It was another message from David. The girl didn't open it. But apparently this day her ex-husband decided to test Selina's strength. Because 9 minutes later the phone started ringing. "What do you want?" yelled into the phone Selina. "You have not said and done everything. Are you going to finish me off?" Choking on her tears, the girl yelled. "Selina, don't scream. Listen," David babbled on the other end of the wire. His voice lacked yesterday's insolence and aggression. But Selina didn't let him finish. "I don't want to listen. I don't want to hear it. I heard and saw everything yesterday. Go to hell," she muttered, hitting the disconnect button. The despair that had covered Selina before was replaced by anger, annoyance, rage. She didn't understand how a man could call her so easily to ask for forgiveness after all he had done. It was as if he'd stepped on her foot in transit. Honestly, putting the phone aside, Selina hurried to the bathroom. She needed to clean herself up, calm down, and clean up her room. She had made a terrible mess, and she didn't want Tom to see it. There was no need to get the boy involved in any of this trouble. By the time her brother arrived, Selina had managed to put the apartment in relative order. But the girl's mind was troubled. She was afraid that David would not leave her so easily. What her ex-husband wanted, Selina did not understand. After everything that had happened, the girl thought it was pointless to have any conversations. Selina was also worried about Tom. Tomorrow is Saturday. The girl has to go to work, and on Sunday she works, and her brother is left to himself. No, Tom is a good, bright boy. But what if her ex-husband decides to come to visit again? Selina doesn't know what that man has in mind. If David did that to her, the girl he loved, what can he do to the boy he can't stand? Selina tried not to think about that. But then the front door slammed, and Selina hurried to greet her brother. "Hi," the girl said, looking at Tom. "Hi," replied the boy. "Selina, can I go to Archie's cottage for the weekend? His parents are calling me to visit." "Of course you can, but I'll call Archie's parents first," Selina said. Selina was overjoyed that Tom had been invited to visit. She knew the family well, and now she didn't have to worry that her brother would be home alone on the weekend. Selena called her classmates' parents, and they said that they were going to go to the cottage in the evening, so at 8 o'clock they would pick up Tom. The girl helped her brother pack for the trip, and after seeing him off, decided that it would be good to take a shower and go to bed early. But from water procedures, Selena was distracted by the beeping of the phone. The device reported that it was low on battery. The girl took the phone in her hands and was surprised to realize that there were a lot of missed calls from David and a large number of messages. She was not going to call back, but she opened a couple of messages. In them, her ex-husband apologized and demanded that Selena talk to him. Shaking her head dejectedly, the girl put her phone on charge and went into the shower. Selena barely had time to get out of the shower when she heard the insistent ringing of the doorbell. The girl went to the door but did not hurry to unlock it, guessing that there was an intruder, a person she did not want to see. "Who is it?" Selena asked, taking in more air into her lungs. "It's me," David answered from behind the door. "And why did you come?" "What do you want?" The girl still asked through the door. "Selena, open up." "Well, not through the door to communicate," said her ex-husband in an unhappy voice. "And we have nothing to talk about. Go away." "Trying to cope with the growing panic," said Selena. Her hands were shaking and her heart was beating so hard that it seemed to be about to jump out of her chest. "Selena, don't be stupid. Open up. Don't be afraid. I won't do anything bad. I want to talk. I want to apologize." "Don't apologize. Just go away." "I won't leave," David said stubbornly. "I'll still get you to open the door. We need to talk. Open up." "We? Who's we?" Selena shouted through the closed door. "I don't want anything, nothing. Just go away, or I'll call the police." The girl finished her speech. "You won't," said David. "You don't know me well," Selena mumbled. "David, go away. I don't need a fight. I have to work tomorrow. Let me rest." Selena fell silent, listening to what was going on in the stairwell. It was suspiciously quiet. The girl looked through the peephole. Her ex-husband stood opposite the door with a frown, and then, as if sensing Selena's gaze, said, "I'm going to leave now, but we'll have to talk, for better or worse." Having said these words, David left, and Selena sank to the floor exhaustedly. She was glad that Tom was not at home, that her brother had not seen this concert. But the girl realized that her ex-husband would not leave so easily. In the morning, Selena woke up broken. Terrible circles under the eyes, brokenness in the whole body. The girl seemed to sleep at night, but the heavy thoughts constantly wandering in her head did not allow normal rest. Turning in bed, Selena tried to think of a way to convey to her ex-husband that she did not want to communicate with him, see him, and in general, to have anything in common. Maybe really to write a statement to the police, Selena reasoned. But what will I say? Husband demands a conversation, and I'm afraid. It's silly. They'll only laugh at me. Having thought of nothing useful, the girl went to work, deep down hoping that David would leave her alone. But her hopes crumbled like a house of cards. Selena had no time to work in 2 hours, as the phone began to burst with calls from her ex-husband. At the 10th call, the girl could not stand it and quickly went to the back room. Good thing that there were no visitors in the store at that moment. "What do you want?" After picking up the phone, Selena asked. "To talk," answered David. "Well, about what? What do you want?" "I don't want anything from you, and I'm not sorry to see you. Leave me alone." "Why are you so stubborn?" "I've been asking you for days, but you're as stubborn as a sheep. If you don't want to talk normally, I'll make you crawl to me on your knees," David said angrily into the receiver and disconnected the phone. These words really scared Selena. She could no longer cope with the tension. The girl's nerves gave up and she cried bitterly, sitting in the back room at work. A couple minutes later, one of Selena's co-workers, Maria, entered the room. The girls weren't really friends. They just talked about work, nothing more. "Selena, what are you doing here?" "Delilah is cursing. The landlady will be here soon to clean up." But the girl stopped when she saw that Selena was crying. Hey, what's wrong? Maria asked, worried. Nothing. Choking on her tears, Selena said, Don't lie. I'm certainly not your girlfriend, but you can tell me what happened. I'll keep quiet. I might even give you some advice. Selena looked at Maria with tearful eyes and unexpectedly told her story. All of it without embellishment and secrecy. How did you not see such a jerk right away? Maria asked in surprise. I don't know, he seemed normal. Selena shrugged her shoulders. What came out is what came out. Only how to be now I do not know. Don't be sad. I have an idea, but I'll tell you about it later. Now wash up and let's go to the hall, or Delilah's gonna rat us out to the landlady and tell her we're not working. Listen, I think you need to go somewhere. Improving the moment, whispered in Selena's ear Maria. No, of course you can try to go to the police. Say that your ex-husband is stalking you, but I'm not sure that would help. It's better to leave. That's a good plan, Selena grinned sadly. You're forgetting that I have no one but my brother. Maybe I'd run away, but I can't leave Tom. That's why this plan doesn't work for me, Selena finished quietly. So you don't mind going away? Maria asked. I don't mind, but only with Tom. My grandmother lives in my village, Maria said quickly. She has a big house, a farm. I could call her and ask her to take you in. I'm sure my grandmother would agree. She won't take any money for your stay, but you'll have to help with the garden and the chicken. What do you think? I don't even know, Selena mumbled, uncomfortable as it is. Moreover, I have work, Tom has school, and want to live on in the village. You can forget about the inconvenience. Grandma will be happy to take you in. She lives alone. Grandfather died a long time ago. Parents go to her rarely. And I too. Grandma doesn't want to go to the city to us. She still has a lot of strength, but really, it's a bit boring for her alone. So you'll be a great company for her. So it's up to you. With school, I think you can handle it. It's less than a week away. Work is a problem, of course, but it's up to you. Okay, thank you, Selena said. Girls, are you going to talk all day today? Delilah, the eldest of the shift, looked at Maria and Selena unhappily. Let's go. The chattering girls replied in one voice and hurried towards the man who had entered the store. Celine performed her duties on automatic and thought about Maria's assumption. On the one hand, leaving for the countryside was a wonderful solution. David would calm down and forget about Selena. But on the other hand, to leave everything and go to an unknown place, the girl did not want to. She liked working in the store, liked the team, and the salary pleased. To lose all this, Selena was afraid. The working day came to an end, and the girl leisurely wandered home, enjoying the good weather. But Selena's mood soured when she approached the house. On a bench near the entrance sat David. The girl wanted to turn around and leave the yard, but it was pointless to do so. David had already seen her and came up to meet her. Stop. There is no point in running away, David said loudly when he saw that Selena wanted to turn around and leave the yard. Selena stopped and sighed heavily. She didn't feel like talking to her ex-husband, but she wasn't afraid. It was light outside. Neighbors were walking around. Young mothers were walking with their children on the playground nearby. It was unlikely that with so many people David would allow himself too much. What did you want? I told you, I don't want to talk to you. Selena, listen to me. I wanted to apologize for my behavior. I was wrong. I'm sorry, David spoke without looking at the girl. But it's your own fault. You broke our family. You could have given the boy to an orphanage and... Selena interrupted David abruptly. We've already discussed this. Why are you starting this again? You kicked me out. I left. Come back, David said quietly. What? Selena's mouth dropped open at the sound of it. Come back. I can't do this without you. I was wrong. Are you out of your mind? Selena asked angrily. Maybe I could come back to you, but after what you did, I don't even want to know you. You're a horrible person, and the only thing that surprises me is how I didn't see your gut before." David's eyes flashed with evil fire at those words, and he grabbed Selena's hand and whispered, "You shouldn't do that. You better come back to me while I'm calling nicely, or else—" David didn't have time to finish. Selena sharply pulled out her hand and ran to the entrance, from which at that time the neighbor came out. The door behind the girl slammed shut. David stayed on the other side. But Celine didn't relax. She quickly climbed the stairs to her floor, unlocked the apartment door, went inside and locked all the locks. Only then was Selena able to exhale. "I'd still have to run," the girl thought. "David won't get away from me just like that. I'm afraid of him. I'm afraid he might hurt me or my brother. So we have to hide. There's no choice. Let's go to Archie Maria's grandmother's village." Selena tossed and turned in bed all night, and by morning she was even more convinced that going to the village to Maria's grandmother was the only right decision. But for that, she had to settle the current affairs. Leaving the entrance, the girl turned around several times, afraid that David was lurking somewhere. But her ex-husband was not around. This reassured Selena a little. She hoped that she and Tom would be able to leave in peace. Selena went to work with a heavy heart. She really hated to quit, but she had no choice. Sandy, of course, was not delighted that Selena decided to leave. The woman was pleased with the girl's work, but did not hinder. Pauline even made concessions to Selena, allowing her not to work for 2 weeks. When everything was solved with the work, Selena thought about how to be with school. The end of the school year was just a little bit away, and the girl hoped that the teachers would make concessions, allowing the boy to go to the village earlier. True, Tom himself, who had returned from a friend's cottage, was not thrilled at the prospect of spending 3 months in the village. "Selena," whined the boy, "well, what will I do there? No internet, no friends. Probably there, and the TV does not work." "That's great," Selena said in a fake, cheerful voice. "You'll enjoy nature, and Miley will carry water to the vegetable garden." Selena herself was not happy about the prospect, but she didn't see any other way out. Moreover, David had already called Selena several times, and she realized that her ex-husband would not stop there. Strangely enough, but with the school too, everything was solved successfully. It turned out that all the grades were already posted and the children attended classes more and more for pro forma. So having agreed with the school principal that Tom would not attend any more classes this year, Selena hurried home. She quickly packed her things in her travel bag and helped her brother pack. Selena hoped that they would soon be able to return home to a familiar life. The village greeted Tom and Selena with a dusty road and the heavy smell of manure. "Yes, it's beautiful," muttered a disgruntled Tom. Selena looked at her brother sternly and walked briskly toward the houses. The girl had spotted the house with the green chimney from afar. That's where they needed to go. They found Miley in the vegetable garden. The woman was weeding the beds, and when she noticed the guests, she stopped what she was doing and straightened up. "How did you get here?" Miley asked in a friendly manner. "Are you tired, hungry?" Selena and Pasha assured her that they had gotten there all right. They didn't want to eat. The hostess was satisfied with these answers, and she led them into the house to show them where they could stay. Miley gave her brother and sister a rather large room. There were 2 beds, a dresser, and a mirror. The boy, of course, didn't like what he saw. "Well, there's no TV," Tom hummed. "Stop it." His sister shushed him, afraid that Miley would hear his brother's lamentations and take offense. The brother and sister had been living in the village for a week now. She helped Miley in the vegetable garden, cooked meals, cleaned the house. Unaccustomed to such labor, Selena fell into bed in the evening and quickly fell asleep. Although she was homesick in the village, she realized that she had done everything right. In the first days, the calls from David did not stop, and he sent endless messages. But time went by and her ex-husband called less and less often. This pleased Selena, but she was in no hurry to return to the city. Moreover, Tom though he whined that the village is boring, but was able to find something to do to his liking. The boy made friends with a neighbor and with his help repaired an old bicycle. Now Tom had something to do. He rode his bicycle all day long in the street. He even got acquainted with the local boys, and they accepted him into their company. Everything was quiet and peaceful until Selina felt sick. In the morning, Selina woke up early as always. She had to make breakfast and go help Miley in the vegetable garden before it got too hot. While doing chores, the girl realized that she didn't feel good. Selina felt dizzy, nausea, and weakness were present. She constantly wanted to sit down. "Do you feel sick?" Entering the kitchen, a worried Miley asked Selina. "Yes," she answered quietly and hurried outside as she started to feel nauseous. She must have been poisoned by something, Selina said when she got back inside. "Just what was it?" muttered the old woman. "It's strange. We're all eating together. You go and lie down, and I'll feed Tom myself, and I'll take care of things," Miley told Selina. The girl went to her room, lay down on the bed, and quickly fell asleep. Selina slept most of the day. When she got up in the evening, she felt considerably better. The weakness was present, but there was no nausea. Selina even ate a little, writing off her morning sickness as poisoning. But the next day, the story repeated itself. Selina was terribly nauseous and chilly. "Selina, I'm sorry, but maybe you're pregnant." Looking at the girl, Miley asked a question. "I'm kind of," Selina started, but then she stopped and quickly got up from her seat and went to her room. There the girl looked at the calendar. Delayed. A week. "Oh no," groaned Selina aloud. Could it be? Selina was in a panic. Was she really expecting David's baby? Selina used to take the pill when they lived together, but she had stopped taking it after the divorce. Why would she do that if she didn't have a man? The girl in a panic rolled all these thoughts in her head and went out to the kitchen. Miley, sighing heavily, asked Selina, "Is there a pharmacy in the village?" The woman answered without asking too many questions. "2 stops from here. I'll explain how to get there, and you can buy medicine for me." All the way to the pharmacy, Selina's mind was racing with heavy thoughts. She couldn't believe that she could be pregnant. What to do if it really happened? How to live on? Where to run to? The selection was minimal at the small drugstore. But there was a pregnancy test. Selina bought 2, just in case, and hurried back home. She was anxious to take the test and find out if she was expecting a baby or not. Torturing herself with the unknown was even worse than knowing the truth. After arriving back, the girl gave the medication to Miley and herself hurried to get some privacy to take the test. Following the instructions clearly, Selina took the test. Time dragged terribly slowly. 1, 2, 3. Selina clenched her eyes, took a deep breath, and opened her eyes to look at the test. Well, 1 stripe is bright. Selina began to look closely. It seems that a 2nd stripe is visible. Barely noticeable, but there is. The girl tried not to panic. "It is necessary to do another test tomorrow morning. Then everything will be clear," Selina said loudly, calming herself. She spent the whole night in bed, and as soon as it bloomed outside the window, she hurried to take a 2nd test. It showed 2 stripes. The 2nd one was so clear that Selina didn't even need to look closely. The girl was seized by panic. She did not know what to do and how to be further. The first thing to do is to go to the doctor to find out for sure if there is a pregnancy, and then make decisions, Selina said quietly but clearly. She cherished the thought that the test could have been a lie. That same day, Selina drove into town to the hospital. She was very lucky. The girl got to the appointment quickly. "Hello." Entering the doctor's office, Selina said, "I think I'm expecting a baby." "Hello?" replied the doctor and began to ask the patient questions, and then told her to get into the chair. Well, muttered the doctor. "The uterus is enlarged. In general, you need to do an ultrasound to confirm the pregnancy. In the meantime, get up." Selina obediently got up from the chair, got dressed, and waited for further orders from the doctor. Selina went to the ultrasound room. The thoughts in her head were confused. She could not believe in the reality of what was happening. Of course, Selina realized that unprotected intercourse could lead to such consequences. But the girl, even in a terrible dream, could not imagine that such a situation would happen to her. Now the pregnancy will be confirmed, and I'll go back to the doctor. Take a referral for an abortion, Selina thought. But then she rethought. What abortion? It's murder. I will give birth, she thought in despair. Just then, Selina was invited into the office. She went in, sat down on the couch and waited. Is this the planned baby? The ultrasound doctor asked. No, answered Selina quietly. Why? Are you going to keep the pregnancy? Without answering the girl's question, the doctor asked. I do not know, mumbled the girl. And what is it? Tell it like it is. You see, a little hesitated, said the doctor. At the moment there is no heartbeat in the fetus. Perhaps it is due to the small term, but most likely. In general, I will not scare you and encourage you. Tomorrow take blood, and in a couple of days come for a repeat ultrasound. If nothing changes, then you definitely need a cleanup, or maybe a pill will be given. This is not for me. Selina came out of the ultrasound room dead or alive. On the one hand, she didn't want this baby, but on the other hand, it was so scary. To live for a few more days and not realize what was happening. Selina hadn't managed to calm down, even in the time it took her to get to the village. Going home where Miley and Tom were waiting for her, she didn't feel like it. Selina needed to calm down a bit to come to her senses, to gather her thoughts. To be alone for a while, the girl headed to the river. Selina sat down on the bank, away from the people who had come to swim due to the heat. The girl looked at the water and it beckoned, mesmerized her. Maybe I should jump. That's it, Selina suddenly thought, but immediately scolded herself for being weak-willed. I cannot jump. Who Tom will stay with, mentally reasoned the girl. But Selina decided to jump. She wanted to freshen up a bit. She didn't have a swimsuit, so she decided to dive right in her clothes. She wore comfortable shorts and a t-shirt, not a long sundress as she was going to do in the beginning. Taking in more air and pushing off the shore, Selina dived in. She knew the river was deep enough in this spot. She and Tom had gone swimming here a couple days ago. As she surfaced, Selina heard a stern shout. Hey, what are you doing? Are you going to drown yourself? Don't you drown yourself. After a couple of seconds, Selina saw the owner of the voice. A young guy swam towards her with quick movements. Can you hear me? The guy asked Selina. I can hear you, Selina replied. But what's wrong? I thought you had decided to drown yourself, the boy said. You were standing, and then bang, and jumped into the water, right in your clothes. Well, I followed you. I was going to save you, the guy kept muttering. My name is Austin, by the way. I'm Selina. I wasn't going to drown myself. I was just going for a swim. Why are you wearing clothes? Austin asked, looking at the girl incredulously. I didn't bring my swimsuit, Selina mumbled, who felt uncomfortable. After all, by and large, the guy had read her mind. A couple minutes ago, she really wanted to jump in and not dive in. Selina climbed out onto the shore and began to bask in the sunlight. Who are you here to see? Questioned Austin, who had also climbed out of the water and was standing next to Selina, looking at her. Two Miles, the girl said. From the 33rd house. Granddaughter, huh? The guy kept questioning her. Yeah. Granddaughter, Selina didn't go into details. Come on, I'll walk you home. I don't like your behavior, Austin muttered. Selina shrugged her shoulders, but did not refuse the escort. Miley and Tom looked at Selina, who came home in wet clothes, puzzled. What happened? Did you fall in the water? Miley asked worriedly. No, replied the girl quietly. She was ashamed of her appearance. She just wanted to swim, but she didn't have a bathing suit, so she jumped in with her clothes on. I'm right behind her, said Austin, shuffling from foot to foot nearby. Oh, I didn't see you, Miley spluttered. Why did you jump after her? Yeah, Austin mumbled. I thought she'd drowned herself. She jumped in her clothes and didn't come out for a long time. So I got scared and went to rescue her, he said, silent. Selina, I want to go to the river too, Tom whined. It's so hot, and Grandma Nadia won't let me go alone. Come with me, please, the boy begged. Okay. Selina sighed heavily. She did not want to go anywhere. The girl dreamed of only one thing to lie down, to put her thoughts in order. But she didn't want to let her brother go to the river alone, so she said, Now I'll change my clothes and let's go. Tom was happy. He also ran to change, and soon the boys went to the river, and Austin followed them. Do you mind if I come with you? The boy asked, looking at Selina. I don't care. The girl shrugged uncertainly, and Tom didn't say anything. So Austin decided that he could keep Selina and the boy company. All the way to the river, Austin talked nonstop. He talked about his work, his enlargements, and various amusing stories. Celine was silent at first, answering all the questions, one syllable, but then she got involved in the conversation and even managed to distract herself a little from her unhappy thoughts. In the end, the guys had a great time at the river and went home satisfied. All night, Celine rolled around in bed, overcome with heavy thoughts. She dreamed that she was living with a small child and Tom. They had nothing to eat. They were catastrophically short of money. To survive, Selina goes to her ex-husband for help, but he only laughs in her face and calls her the last words. From such a dream, the girl woke up in tears. She was shaking. She had to calm down a little and fall asleep as she began to dream another terrible dream, and so on until the morning. In the end, Selina got up absolutely shattered, but she had no time to feel sorry for herself. It was necessary to hurry to the hospital to take tests. The girl hoped that today the doctors would be able to clarify, and she would know for sure whether her pregnancy was developing or not. But Selina was disappointed. You still need to take a test tomorrow and then after the weekend. Well, and then go for a follow-up ultrasound on Monday. Then everything will be decided, the gynecologist said calmly. Selina returned from the hospital in a depressed state. She could not imagine how else to live so many days in the unknown, which exhausts, eats from the inside. She didn't even have anything to distract herself with. Although Miley did not ask anything but understood a lot, so she did not allow Selina to work in the vegetable garden. And the girl could hardly be a good assistant. She often had stomach aches, dizziness, and general weakness was present all the time. Having gone on Friday for another analysis, Selina waited with bated breath for Monday. She wanted clarity. She was driving herself deeper and deeper into depression with her thoughts and fantasies. At least the new acquaintance Austin periodically dropped by to visit, trying to cheer Selina up. The guy, despite the age difference, got along well with Tom and they talked a lot. Selina had to put up with Austin for that reason too, though she wasn't open to socializing. Monday was approaching inevitably. Selina was looking forward to it and dreading it at the same time. She wanted certainty, but it frightened her. The girl drove to the hospital with a heavy heart. It was as if she felt that everything would be bad and mentally prepared for it. Having taken a blood test, Selina patiently waited for the results and the doctor working in the ultrasound room. She had to do one more examination and only according to the results of all the tests. The gynecologist could say whether the girl was developing a pregnancy or not. The doctor conducted the ultrasound in silence, looking carefully at the monitor of the machine. "What is there?" impatiently asked the girl. "Lie still," the doctor said strictly, and Selina was silent. "You can get up after a couple of minutes," the doctor gave his voice. "I'll take the results to your gynecologist and you get dressed and go to him too." Selina didn't have time to say a word as the sonographer got up from his seat and left the office with a quick step. The girl realized that something was wrong with her baby, but Selina thought about it in a detached way. Without hurrying to dress, Selina went to the gynecologist's office. There was a small line, and the girl waited obediently. When it was her time to enter the office, Selina was shaking. The tension was so strong that she could not cope with it. "Hello," Selina whispered as she opened the office door. "Hello." Sat down. Looking at her glumly, said the gynecologist, "I took the tests. Did an ultrasound." Now I want to know what's wrong with my baby, said Selina quietly but firmly. Unfortunately, the pregnancy is not progressing. You need a cleanup looking at the patient point. Blank, the doctor said. Selina's eyes moistened. She didn't seem to want this baby, but she was scared. She was already slowly trying on the role of a mom. No chance, she asked quietly. The doctor shook his head silently, signaling that no miracle would happen. Selina lay in the room and looked at the ceiling. Her soul, as well as her head, was empty. She had been cleaned, and the girl had hoped to go home right away. But she'd been kept in the hospital for at least 5 days. Selina thought it was an eternity. But she dared not disobey the doctors. Selina diligently drank all the necessary pills and bravely put her ass under the injection. She was depressed by the hospital, by the atmosphere and the impossibility to run away, to hide, to give vent to her feelings. Selina was also worried about Tom. Of course she called Miley, and she assured Selina that she would look after the boy. She would feed him, make him drunk, and put him to bed. But that didn't make her feel any better. Her conscience tormented her for leaving her brother to a complete stranger. But she had no choice. And Selina was also annoyed by her roommates. Actually, the girls were quite nice and sweet, but with their desire to communicate, they drove Selina to a frenzy. She wanted to yell at her roommates and kick them out, and they didn't understand Selina, who shut herself off from the outside world and didn't want to talk to anyone. While Selina was in the hospital, she received several calls from Austin. The guy offered his help, but the girl refused it rather harshly. "Austin, don't call me, please," Selina asked. "I don't need anything, I'm fine. Just stay away from me, okay?" "Okay," replied Austin sadly. "I'm sorry." The guy didn't know what had happened to Selina. Tom only informed him that his sister was in the hospital. When Austin found out about it, he asked Mealy for the girl's cell phone and started calling, but Selina reacted negatively to the calls, and it upset the guy. He liked Selina, even though she acted very cold to him. "Are you discharging me today?" Selina asked the doctor at Friday's rounds. "No. Probably Monday," the doctor mumbled without even looking at the patient. "What's the point of me being here?" Selina said reasonably. "The course of antibiotics was injected into me, and I can take pills at home. Let me go against my signature. I don't want to sit here for another weekend." "All right," grumbled the doctor, who didn't like to be crossed. "A little later you'll be called for an ultrasound. If it shows that everything is normal, then I'll discharge you." "Thank you," Selina said quietly. She couldn't believe her good fortune that just a little bit more, and she would be able to leave the hospital. Selina was determined that even if the ultrasound was not good, she would still leave. She would write a receipt and leave. She'd already found out. That's the way to go. Of course, there are health risks, but Selina was ready to do anything just to leave the hospital quickly. To the girl's delight, her ultrasound was good. Therefore, she was not just let go home, but discharged, giving all the necessary recommendations. Going outside and breathing in the warm air, Selina felt much better, though her soul still ached, but the girl tried to calm herself down. "I could hardly love a child conceived under such circumstances," Selina reasoned, "and I wouldn't dare to have an abortion either. So everything that happened was for the best. It was meant to be. Perhaps such thoughts may seem terrible to some, but they helped the girl, who had suffered a lot of grief, to cope with the misfortune, not to fall into depression and continue to live on." After the hospital, Selina tried to load herself with housework so much that she could not think about anything. Even Mealy's timid remarks that she should take care of herself didn't work on her. She wanted to do something, to be needed and not to think. Selina was afraid of her thoughts. They were too sad and heavy. But time passed and Selina's soul became calmer. It wasn't just the housework that contributed to this. The fact that her ex-husband's calls had stopped. If in the first weeks David called several times a day and even flooded Selina with messages, then the calls became less frequent. Once a day, once a couple days, once a week, and then stopped altogether. The girl was happy about it, though there was a little anxiety lurking in the back of her mind. She couldn't believe that David, who had been threatening and shouting, had suddenly given up his position. Selina waited for a catch, but so far there was no meanness. The ex-husband simply disappeared from the horizon, which gave the girl the opportunity to calm down a little and start breathing fully. Also, Selina was being actively courted by Austin. His courtship was so childish that it was hilarious to the girl. The guy carried Selina armfuls of wildflowers, brought berries from his vegetable garden. Despite the fact that Austin was a year older than Selina, he was terribly shy of her and did not always understand when the girl was joking and when she was serious. But the summer came to an end, and Selina and Tom had to return to the city. It was time for the girl to think about work, to live on the payments that were given to her brother. It was unrealistic, and the boy needed to go to school. So returning to the city was inevitable. "You will definitely come next year," Mile told her brother and sister when they packed their bags and were about to leave the hospitable house. "Better yet, come for New Year's Eve," the old woman continued. "It's beautiful here. You can go skiing, ice skating." "I don't think mine are going to make it," Miley waved her hand, "but don't forget, I've grown attached to you over the summer." "We've grown fond of you too," Selina and Tom said in unison and hugged the woman. Selina said, "We have to go, or it'll be dark before we get home," Selina said, picking up her bag and going outside. No sooner had she reached the gate than she saw Austin. He was running toward Miley's house. "Oh, I made it," Austin mumbled to himself as he entered the lot. "Why were you in such a hurry?" Selina asked, surprised. "I thought we said goodbye yesterday." "I need to talk to you, Selina." "A little embarrassed," answered Austin. "About what?" "Well, Selina, I like you a lot," Austin said, digging into the pocket of his work pants. "Austin, I like you too. You're a nice guy, and I'm glad we met," Selina said calmly. "When you're in town, call me and we'll go to a movie. But now we have to leave, or we won't be able to wait for the bus." "Tom, let's go," Selina said to her brother and started to walk around Austin. "Wait," the guy begged, finally finding what he couldn't find in his pocket for so long. "Well, what is it?" "Shut up a minute. Let me get my thoughts together," Austin said, and then blurted out, "Selina, marry me." Saying that, the guy handed Selina a simple silver ring. "What?" the confused girl asked. "Marry me, Austin," said a little louder and more confidently, and looked at Selina point blank. At that moment, everyone was looking at Selina, Austin, Tom, and Miley. Everyone was waiting to see what the girl would say. "I agree," Selina answered unexpectedly to everyone, and especially to herself. She didn't love Austin, at least not the way she felt when she married David. But Selina liked Austin. She was attracted to the guy's openness and kindness, his desire to take care of her. And Selina also liked the lack of impudence and vulgarity. For all the time of communication, Austin did not allow himself a single act that could catch the girl. Even once kissed Selina, Austin apologized for his impulse for a long time. Although Selina herself was not against it, she probably agreed for only one reason. She wanted to have a man by her side. Selina was tired of being alone. She was also afraid that David would show up and she wouldn't be able to cope with his onslaught, his threats. And if she had a husband, she reasoned, he would be able to protect her. Austin had another undoubted bonus. He got along well with Tom. Over the summer, the boy had managed to sincerely love his older friend, and this pleased Selina. The wedding was 2 months away, or rather there was no celebration. Selina and Austin signed, and then came to the village, where the parents of the guy set the table. Selina didn't mind. After all, she had no one from her relatives. On her holiday, the girl invited only Miley and Masha, with whom she managed to become friends over the summer. The girls often called each other. To live in the village, Selina flatly refused. "Austin, you understand, Tom has a study. And there is no school here. He will have to travel. What about winter? I don't want that. Besides, Tom's been attending this school since first grade. There's no need to change anything, and there's no work here. Where am I supposed to go? The village store. I'm not cut out for life in the country. I can come here for the summer, but not permanently. Austin did not contradict his young wife, and having collected his rustic belongings, went to the city. The boy quickly found a job. Austin was a good mechanic, and he was hired to work in the city economy. Selena also found a job. Tom went to school, and life was slowly getting better. First time after returning to the city, Selena was very afraid that David would appear and break everything. From neighbors and acquaintances, the girl learned that her ex-husband was looking for her, guarded near the entrance, but then suddenly disappeared. Selena was very surprised. Only a year later, from mutual acquaintances, she learned why David so sharply retreated. As it turned out, after the escape to the village, David, as if off the chain, he took a vacation at work, and during the day guarded his ex-wife near the entrance. And at night, the guy would go to the club. He'd relax there, drink. At one of the discos, David met a girl, and in the morning woke up with her in the same bed. The guy drove her out, and 2 weeks later, the girl again stood on the doorstep of his apartment, assuring that she was expecting a child. David, of course, wanted to kick the girl out, but she had a difficult father who made the guy David on his daughter. There were rumors that the girl is pregnant not from David, just found a simpleton to cover the sin. Probably true. Only the guy didn't bother to find out. The rich father-in-law took David into the family business, and the guy got the benefits and power he never dreamed of. Even the bonus of a wife and child didn't irritate him anymore, and he'd forgotten all about Selena. But Selena found out about all this much later. At first, she was very worried that David would appear and her life would go downhill. But time went by, David did not appear. Selena and Austin adjusted their everyday life, learned to live without quarrels and mutual offenses. To her surprise, Selena soon realized that she loved her husband strongly. As an adult, this discovery contributed to one unpleasant incident. One day, Austin was late for work. Selena tried to call her husband to find out where he was, but the guy's phone was disconnected. After suffering until midnight, the girl began to call hospitals. In one of them, she was told that in the evening, they received a guy with severe beatings and without documents. Hearing this, Selena began to hurriedly dress, on the way persuading Tom to stay at home, not to go with her. But no sooner had the girl left the apartment than she saw her husband rushing to the entrance. "Where were you?" Selena pounced on Austin. "At work," the guy replied, surprised. "And where are you going?" "Why didn't you call me that? You were running late." "I've already changed my mind. I'm going to the hospital. I was told there is a guy lying there, similar to you." The last words Selena already shouted, unable to cope with hysteria. "Easy, easy," Austin stroked her head. "I texted you. I called, but you didn't pick up, so I texted Q, and my phone went off. I didn't think you'd worry, I warned you," mumbled the guy, hugging his wife. "I saw the unanswered call, and there was no text. I was so worried, and I love you so much," Selena said through her tears. "I love you so much, too," Austin spoke softly. He was amazed. In the 6 months they had lived together, Selena had never once told her husband that she loved him, and he hadn't demanded it. He was fine with Selena, and he didn't want to start a pointless showdown. But now that he had heard that his wife loved him, Austin was truly happy. Selena wandered sadly down the street, wondering what to do, how to be. It was the 2nd year they had been living with Austin, and a little over a year they had been planning on having children, but it wasn't working out. There were no visible reasons for the failures, but to dispel all doubts, the guys underwent an examination. Doctors assured Austin and Selena that they were healthy and that everything would work out. But time passed, and the long-awaited pregnancy did not come, and the girl was depressed. He decided to visit one of the best gynecologists in the city To get to him to see Selena had to sign up 3 months in advance. She made an appointment, waited for her turn, hoping for a miracle. But the doctor did not say anything concrete. "You are doing well. I do not see any problems and obstacles to conception." "Maybe it's the partner," the doctor suggested. "No," dejectedly shook her head girl. "With a partner, everything is fine." Selena left the eminent doctor with a terrible feeling of longing and anxiety. The girl did not know how to solve her problem. She no longer believed in anything. To distract herself a little, Selena wandered to the market. She bought some meat, fresh vegetables, and was about to go to the house, as her attention was attracted by a gaunt old woman. The old woman was sitting on a small chair and selling all sorts of things. It was obvious that the old woman was short of money, and Selena decided to buy something from her to help her. Selena said, "Give me that jar over there," turning to the old woman and pointing to the item she liked. She didn't like anything else, but the jar could be useful. Austin liked to keep his screws in boxes like that. "Don't take it, daughter," the woman said, squinting her slightly blinded eyes. "Take a flower." "I don't like flowers, Grandma." Selena frowned. "They don't take root." "But you take it, try," insisted the old woman. "It is not a simple flower, but a magic flower. It will fulfill your most cherished wish. You just have faith." "It will not fulfill my wish, Grandmother." Selena grinned bitterly, but she took the flower and the jar she had originally liked too, giving the old woman twice as much money as she had asked for. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Subscribe to the channel, like it, write comments if you like the story, and see you on the channel.